What's up, everyone? I kind of owe you all an apology. So I made a video not even like a month ago, I don't remember when it came out, saying that the iPad 10, the iPad X, the new iPad probably isn't going to come. And I honestly think that's not the case anymore. I do think that we're going to see a new iPad that's going to be looking like the new iPhones, but not really. It's going to be bezel-less. But I just want to apologize for that just because at the time, we didn't really hear too much about it. And I figured they would drop a hint at it at the September event, but they didn't. So it's kind of weird that they did that. And recently a lot more leaks have came out, a lot of renders, a lot of concepts and all these things. So I kind of want to branch them all together and kind of give you an idea and possibly why I think it's going to be super, super amazing. And it's really up to Apple, the software within it, to make it better, to make it a huge seller or not a huge seller. Because in terms of the body and every way it's going to look, I think it's going to look pretty good. So Ming-Chi Kuo, he recently said that Face ID will be coming to it. And if you guys don't remember, we saw that portrait Face ID unlock was actually going to be coming. I believe it's not installed yet, but I think some people saw that through the iOS 12 code. So that could only assume that a new iPad would be coming with Face ID, so then you can unlock it portrait mode as well, or landscape, whatever that is. So because it's going to get Face ID, that means there's not going to be a fingerprint sensor on it, meaning that there's going to be more screen on it and less bezel. So some people are saying it's going to be around 11.8 inches. So I would imagine it's going to be around the same size as the current iPad or the iPad 10.5 inch, somewhere along those lines, but just kind of stretched out a little bit larger. Now, some people are saying that there's not going to be a notch, so it's going to be kind of pushed as far as it can be, but it's not going to be completely bezel-less. And I want to say that's going to be a really good thing, because when you hold an iPad, you actually are holding a huge device. You can't hold it with one hand. With an iPhone, like an iPhone 10, for example, you have some way to grasp it on the sides, but with an iPad, you're kind of forced to put your finger somewhere, your thumb or your whatever, unless you're holding it on a table, and you can't even wrap your full hand around it. So having a little bit of bezel is okay, and I actually like that, so you don't actually just tap the screen when you're holding it. The only problem with this is that I would imagine it will probably cost a bit more than the current 10.5 inch iPad because of the upward trend we've seen in Apple prices. So if you notice, like when we went from an iPhone 8 Plus to an iPhone 10, there was a little bit of an increase in price, actually a lot. But I think the same thing is going to happen here, because it's kind of the future. We're going gesture based, no home button, no nothing, and it's going to look a lot better too. So I'm going to say that's going to be a little bit of an issue, but I think a lot of people will probably get over it. But now, interesting, from Macworld, they said that there's code in iOS 12 that shows a bezel-less iPad almost, so somewhere along the iPad that people have already rendered and everything. So that's pretty crazy. So we are almost pretty much guaranteed to see it, and the code also showed that there's no notch on it. So I would assume there's not going to be a notch. I just think that'd be kind of weird, especially on a device that large. I think a little bit of bezel is not horrible, and I'm the first one to admit that bezels are the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, I don't think a bezel is going to be that bad, honestly. And apparently from them as well, it's going to have a processor a bit faster than the current A12 Bionic chip. So something like an A12X or something like that. But even if it had the same chip, I would still be pretty satisfied, dude. The A12 Bionic chip is pretty fast. So even if it's a little bit faster, I mean, that's even better. Another shame is that there's not going to be a headphone jack, but I think it's still keeping the lightning charger. A lot of people are saying it's going to get or obtain the USB-C. Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way Apple would remove the lightning charger. I'm probably gonna make a separate video talking about it, but Apple makes so much money selling those lightning chargers that it would just be like redundant for them to do that. Like, it would just like be completely opposite. Like, they would lose money going to USB-C. I thought, honestly, at a time they were gonna change the MacBook charging port to a lightning charger, but that is all that is, really. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm really happy, but really, Apple could really drop the ball, in my opinion, if they don't make iPad's OS noticeably different than what it is on the iPhone. Now, they did a lot of split screen stuff. They did a lot of stuff in iOS 11 that really separated the two, but hopefully they keep that trend going, because they could really sell a lot of iPads if they make it like a full-on computer substitute or like a MacBook substitute. Now, they're never going to make it completely, because people are going to buy the iPads instead of the MacBooks and spend less money with Apple, but hopefully Apple does kind of branch down. I mean, I just heard recently that Adobe is going to port over pretty much their whole Photoshop app onto the iPad, so that's a huge step in the right direction, and hopefully Apple follows suit, and hopefully they just make it like a completely different experience, and they kind of are doing that right now, but hopefully they do it a little bit better. But that is pretty much it. I'm super excited for the new iPad. I currently have an iPad Pro, and I want to upgrade, and I would love to see like a whole gesture base. I mean, you already pretty much have all gestures based on iOS 12 anyway on an iPad, but I'm pretty excited for it. And that's pretty much it. That's all the leaks and stuff that pretty much came out at this point. It should be coming out in a couple weeks. Invites to this event and the October event should be coming out in a couple days if it is happening. So I guess we'll just go from there. But if you guys have any questions or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button. That'll mean so much. But definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber we get really does count. So it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. That's also linked down below. Make sure you guys check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.